If you want to pass that around. Now, we did hear from Flamand that he had issued threats against Flamand's mother, that is Pam. I also know that that Ebony has been told by him that Flamand threatened her. Personally, I doubt that. I believe that he was threatened by the drug dealers who Flamand grew up with. I don't believe Flamand threatened Ebony. I think that Jakari used the knowledge that he was threatened by Flamand's schoolmates to put it on Flamand. But because Ebony was never personally told, just as Pam was never personally told, that Flamand never told Ebony, Jakari never told Pam. We've heard it from both of them. Both Ebony tried to get a restraining order or a order of protection against Flamand, and Pam tried to get one against Jakari. She can't. Now, Pam is a shareholder here, Ebony is a shareholder here, Jakari is not. We've listened to Ebony. Flamand is now in jail. Today he had a hearing, and his case is going to the grand jury, not to be heard by the judge, but to be heard by the grand jury. In Cook County, grand juries only hear from the prosecutor. They do not hear from the defense. They are not expected to hear from the defense. They hear the prosecutor's case to see if the prosecutor feels there's enough to take to court. I personally think that there are questions. And why I think there are questions is because I believe what I heard in the wee hours of Saturday morning is slightly different than what I heard last Monday. I did not hear on Saturday morning, wee hours, that Ebony had been shot at. I heard that the gun had been pointed at her, but I didn't hear the shots. Dolores lives next door, not next door, but those windows where the casings were picked up is her apartment. And she didn't. What did you hear at 2 o'clock?
On my window.
Right.
That's the only
I
thing
have a
heard.
question. I was thinking about that. Just because you used to live on the first floor. Isn't it kind of hard for somebody to jump up and knock on your window? Is it possible that what you were hearing was the window rattling from gunshots?
No, it was. No.
It was somebody was knocking on your window.
Yeah, because my daughter was there. She jumped up and said, "Mommy, who was knocking on the band?" She said, "Bandman on the window." And I got up,
Right.
and I looked out my back door, and I didn't see anyone. I did not look out. I was scared to look out the window.
Right.
But that's the
Everything
only thing.
And
And I in the morning I text Fran and Lee, because I thought maybe
Right.
somebody had came through the gangway, and was just going down,
right,
just
Right.
doing something like
right.
that.
We do know. And how many did you hear?
Just two.
Okay.
It was bam bam.
Right.
And on my kitchen window.
Right. Now, this is the letter. I sent LaShawn a copy. This is the letter that I wrote to the Cottage View Terrace. So pass it around, let Eddie keep it because he doesn't have email. If you want me to forward it to you, I will, but that's requesting the video from them. They are a nationwide company with gobs how many subsidiaries. I found a contact. Now this morning I got the number of the public defender for Flamand and asked her to subpoena the video because I don't know the truth. I think it is very possible that Jakari, particularly looking at his history, has snowed Ebony, and that he's telling her how things are, and she's believing him, and has made her afraid of things that I don't think she has a need to be afraid of. Because overall, Flamand has, anyone who has found, that I've met, that has experience of Flamand, that's known him for 20, 30 years, knows he does some things that he'd go to jail for, but not here. And I do know that his brother is the one that the girl last week said had the gun.
Yeah, she said
The
he
brother
brought the
had
gun out and he gave it to
Yeah.
her mom.
Right.
No, we didn't hear that
But
part.
my other question is how? What caused it to change so much that Flamand said, I don't want to lose my job and get the gun, which is how it was relayed to me, and then, 3/4 of the gangway later is completely changed psychological perspective and shoots. Does not make sense to me. Also, the girl that was with Flamand has said that Ebony wasn't out there when she was out there. I don't know the truth. I seriously don't know the truth. Ebony is your sister. Flamand is our janitor. I have known Flamand. I've known his mother a lot longer. I would believe it of his brother much quicker than I would believe it of Flamand.
I don't believe.
It doesn't matter. The video is what we want.
Right, but I'm not. I don't believe that she will be lying about that. Especially, she went right out and got a lawyer to try to get the video. This place said they want $1,000 to release that video. It's in the email. They want $1,000. She's trying to figure out a payday loan so she could go and get that video. I don't think she's lying about her turning and seeing Flamand with a gun. And you just said the girl said that there was a gun,
Right.
and then you find 7 shells, but you're saying, well, maybe the shots weren't that night. Maybe it didn't happen. When the girl said they had a gun,
Yes.
and there's 7 shells back there.
Yes, there is no doubt there are 7 shells back there. There is no doubt there was a gun. There are a number of possible explanations for what happened. I don't know the truth. I hope it didn't happen the way that Ebony says it happened. I would prefer it to happen the way that Flamand says to happen. I don't know that either of them are the truth. Really. Because there are other conceivable possibilities. Another possibility, which I consider more likely, is that Flamand gave the gun back to Lamont. Lamont's the one that shot him off. Because that I would believe much more quickly than the other thing is Flamand was the one that kept the people from the alley that we could have called to get but that's beside the point. We need to deal with Pam and her request to have Jakari removed, effectively banned from the property, and we need to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it.
I don't think legally we can do it, and if we go that route, then we also have to have her sons banned from the property.
Who?
Her sons that live with her. Flamand said Lamont lives with her and he has a criminal record. We got to ban
Yeah,
him.
but he's covered by the proprietary lease, and Jakari is living here as an unauthorized occupant.
Then we have to go and comb all 4 buildings for all unauthorized tenants and put them all out. And we got to do it all at once. We can't miss fences, because let's just look at this the way it is. Everything that you all have heard, everything that says he was selling drugs, everything that says he was intimidating the people around here, everything comes from Flamand, Flamand's friend, Flamand's family.
No,
And-
it doesn't. It also comes from Lee. It also comes from Dwayne.
Dwayne got his information from Flamand. There's no. You asked Eddie last week, did somebody come and ask you where they selling drugs? What did you see? And what was Eddie's answer? No. He said, people have asked me where to buy drugs, They didn't say who they were looking for. I didn't know where to send them.
Well, to be able to actually prove that he or anybody was selling drugs is
Right.
difficult. The police have probably proven that. But I don't think that we have to rely on that level of proof. To me, this is sufficient.
But
Along with
Flamont
the
has
allegations.
twice the records of this
Okay.
boy, and you guys want definitive video proof to believe your
No.
shareholder evidence.
No, what we are doing is we are taking Flamont's word that that he gave us last week, that if he were at a police station, he could have a letter of protection written about his mother because that threat on his mother, and not his sister who's ripe age, just graduated from high school, not his sister, but his mother and his brother's daughter, the baby. The sister's left out of it. Surprise.
But the mother and
He threatened Pam.
Pam, the shareholder. Well,
Yes.
we know she's a liar because she came in here.
Pam
She
told-
came in here. But wait, you saying rely on Pam because she heard
No,
it.
I'm telling you, Flamont told us last week and testified to us last week that his mother was threatened. She couldn't get a letter because she was not threatened personally. Why should we believe Ebony that Flamont threatened her when you're telling us we shouldn't believe Pam when,
I'm telling you, you shouldn't believe Pam because you don't believe Ebony.
no. But
And
we
I'm telling
acted
you,
on
Pam
Ebony.
ran in here last week and
Flamont's issue is
said.
going to take care of
Pam
itself.
ran in here last week and said no. It wasn't Flamont that had the gun. Her boyfriend had the gun. Now Flamont said there was no gun at all. His girlfriend said there was no gun at all.
No, his girlfriend
girl-
said there wasn't.
This girlfriend said there was
She's
a
not
gun,
sure
but
it's
she
a
said that. So how did the mother come in here and tell that lie, but now she wants us to believe her daughter? She has a history of lying.
Flamont is the one that told us.
Okay,
she-
but let me ask you this: if that
Okay.
videotape shows Flamont shooting that gun, which means he sat here and lied with a
That has-
puppy dog face, that means if he's lying about that big issue, he could be lying about these little issues.
Okay, so you're willing to let Pam and her granddaughter, who is a baby, be threatened by the guy that gets arrested every year and had 2 kids while he was incarcerated in Indiana. You're willing to let him?
It's hard to have 2 kids while you're incarcerated.
Not really.
No.
You make them before you go to jail.
And-
Okay, but what I'm saying is this family, everything that they're
So you want this guy
saying.
to stay here and Pam to not to I can't see that.
I
Why do
don't
you
want
want us to care
Flamont.
for Ebony and not have and not give the same equality to Pam?
No, you guys are same way as last week. You guys are jumping on because Flamont said it is law, and that's not how it is. We don't have proof of this. All I'm saying is give me proof that she was threatened,
You don't have proof of the other side either.
and you guys aren't moving on
what
that.
you do have though, what
You
do
guys
have,
aren't
though,
moving it because
what
you
do
say you don't
though,
have
is the
proof.
police. It's in the police hands now. They're going to deal with it,
And
they're
the
gonna
police
do-
didn't release him. He's going forward. He's
Right.
still in jail.
So that's a done issue. That's a done issue. But this is a live issue. Same circumstances.
Now-
A threat, a shareholder living in fear of her life. But you want us
But
to. You want us to
how
move
come
on
this
that one?
shareholder didn't bring up these fears before they had an altercation? How come this boy has lived here for 3 years
Because her
and there's
son
been
would
no
protect
attitude?
her.
There's
Flamont-
been no reports of drug anything when he moved in 3 years ago. Up until him and Flamont had an incident in the parking lot with the mechanics.
No.
After that, then everything
No.
came.
No.
Here's the
No,
thing,
there weren't.
LaShawn.
No,
There's
there
always
weren't.
been reports of drugs. But a
Yes.
drug dealer tell you, drug dealer be out there for 10, 15 years, how you going to catch him? The only way the police catch him is that they send an undercover agent there to make a bag. Otherwise, all you see is traffic. You're never going to prove somebody's selling drugs, so you have to go with your
So
gut,
how do you
and
prove
have to go with
somebody
your
threatened
neighbors.
somebody?
Okay.
No, we're
Next
not talking about drugs.
question.
Just talking about the drug. That's my issue.
Next question. We have this complaint from Pam, who is a valid shareholder. Are you willing to allow the corporation to ignore this with our liability on the guarantee that Jakari is not going to look to intimidate her, look to intimidate her daughter, look to intimidate anybody that comes to her unit? Are you going to want to put the corporation in that liability situation? This is something that we are officially asked to attend to.
This is a trick by somebody who has been arrested by his family to even things out.
But we were told that before he was arrested.
He was sitting right here. He was already being accused of a crime.
LaShawn, we could look at your sister's claim as a trick to get pressure off her drug dealing boyfriend.
Yeah.
If we wanted to look at it as a trick.
That's what y'all doing. Y'all said nothing will happen until we see the video.
It's the same thing.
It's words. Exactly. It's the same thing. You
so
don't
it's the
move
same
on one
thing?
issue, you don't move on
We
the
don't
other
have to work
issue.
on that issue now.
Right.
The police
He's
solved
still our
the police solved
employee.
that issue
He's still our employee. We haven't voted to fire him, and we still have him on the
because
payroll.
it's moot. He's in jail
Okay.
now.
Right.
We don't
Did
have to
I
make a
get-
decision on that.
Did
And I
get-
came here a week before and told you that Ebony was threatened by this guy, and nobody moved on. They said, no, he's never even been to jail. And then she gets
No.
shot at. Did you not say he's never been to jail when I asked the week before when I said she had been threatened by him?
There's a difference between being arrested and jail. I didn't believe he had been convicted.
And as a
of any
board,
felonies.
as a hiring board who voted to hire him, each person in here should have been made aware of his criminal history. I think, well, from what I'm seeing is there are things that are being kept from some of the board. And
Lee
like
has a criminal history.
We were aware of that.
last week, everybody said they didn't know he had a criminal history.
Who, Lee?
Flamon.
He volunteered and told me when
Flamon.
we first started it. He volunteered and told me.
Flamon?
Yeah, Lee.
See,
But you weren't here to vote him in.
No, I knew Lil Money had been in jail before.
because the people that have lived here for 50 years watched him go to jail.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to say anything. Everybody knew
But
it.
when I asked the Monday before, you said he had never been to jail. You said he was there for
Okay.
overnight but never been
I
to
just
jail.
got a text from Pam that he just threatened Lamont. I can see that.
You can see it from in here?
No, I can see that he would have just threatened Lamont, but did Lamont bring it on? Yes. But we're the ones, if we don't do something, that have the corporation liable. I don't give a fuck how much Ebony likes him, but we're liable.
Listen, last week for Flamon, you guys came dangerously close to obstruction of justice. The police asked if he were him. Here, one board member said, no, he's gone. Other people said, no, he's not here.
We looked at you to say,
Why do I have to be the one to point out this guy who is dangerous? And then this morning in court, last week, Fran told me you don't have to be worried about Flamon. You need to be worried about Lamont and his mother. That's what you told me last week. We get to court this morning, and Fran walks in before us. Me and my sister walk in, and Fran goes and tells them Ebony and her brother are coming in. So these people I'm supposed to be fearful of, you just pointed us out to them. And then she went and sat, as a board member, went and sat in the courtroom next to Flamon's mother and the defense attorney.
Yes.
And conferenced with them twice. You're supposed to be impartial.
No.
You can't go sit next to
I have
them.
two different roles. I am a person, as a shareholder that lives here, that has the right to have my own life. And if I represent myself as Fran Froelich, which I did when I went to court this morning, I did not represent myself as a corporate president. And I have a right to do that. Now, do you feel threatened when you're in a courtroom where you have to pass through
When somebody said,
Come on.
there he goes, and now the mother starts mean mugging us all the way into the courtroom, then walks in the courtroom and still mean mugging us. So now she goes home and tell her son to go shoot him up? That's okay?
How do we squash this problem? How do we squash this problem?
I think the Flamon issue is handling itself.
Yeah.
We don't have nothing that we can do no more than what the police can
Right.
do.
We could terminate him tonight.
No, it's moot. That's just a useless gesture. It's just a useless gesture. The boy's in jail. There ain't no threat no more.
But you don't
Why
have
would we be
proof
even
of this
messing
threat.
with that? This issue here is the only one I see we have to deal with now.
But as far as you know, he hasn't done anything on this property.
Who, He's done enough. I have enough here.
All we
Lamont
know-
has
all we
double
know-
this. Lamont has
Okay.
double this.
That's not the issue though.
No.
Lamont ain't the issue.
All we know
The
about-
police are dealing with Lamont. The
Right.
police are dealing
Lamont
with him.
still lives here. His criminal history is double that.
That ain't what's
I
before
doubt
us
it.
now. That ain't what's before us now.
I doubt
But I'm saying, if
If
you
he-
want to kick somebody out,
No, if he ain't even got a right to be here. He ain't got no rights here.
Lamar was born in this building.
I'm respecting your sister as a shareholder, and her name ain't came up yet. But he ain't got no right to be here on the premises.
to me, it
He
sounds
has no
like
right
this
to be to
is
stand on.
from the first meeting last week, and I wasn't even in there to defend anybody. I was just trying to be what turned out the only fair and impartial person who was willing to look at all sides. I mean, everything that was saying. Fran said the group of Lamont's friends, who is the competition for my sister's boyfriend,
Yes.
supposedly, said that they threatened Ebony's unit. Now, this is Flamon's friends, who is supposed to be the competition. So, Flamon's friends who sells drugs threatened to break in her unit. But that was okay.
No. What
Nobody
I
said it
you
was
did-
okay.
I did not say it was okay. What I said is that it was not Flamand that issued
But
the
what you're
threats.
saying is a person who has friends who are selling drugs and threatening person could not possibly do anything wrong.
We ain't talking
No,
about
I'm
Lamont.
not saying
Lamont is not
that.
the issue we need to be discussing.
I'm not saying that
I'm,
either.
the Flamand is
But
only the issue we're discussing now because we want it to be fair across the board.
Lamont issues not we discussing. We just discuss his status. He's in court. The police in court is taking care of that. If you get the video and it shows that he fired the gun or pointed the gun at Ebony, the law gonna take care of that. We ain't gotta deal with that. What we
But
got-
we're his employer.
but that's not relevant. If he's in jail, what does it matter?
If I'm a shareholder, Ebony's a shareholder, she's paying him to sit in jail right now.
He ain't gonna. Then we'll make when we come to that, we'll make a decision. But we ain't gotta make that decision
Exactly.
now.
Because we
And this is an overdue decision here, because I've been listening to these reports.
You've been listening to reports from Fran that
No.
have come
Okay,
from
this is his-
only
this is
the
how-
way.
This is how I get intimidated.
I've seen the axe. Tell them to take the axe out the hallway.
Because sometimes I ask Randolph to escort me past the axe. that
But
he
we're not
leaves there.
talking about him. We're
And
not talking
I have
about Fabia's boyfriend.
He's next.
Yeah, he's on parole
He's next.
from armed home invasion. Tell me how easily I'm going to go to England with my first-born neighbor being guilty and on parole of armed home invasion.
You had a person working here who has keys to your front and back door who is convicted of robbery and armed robbery.
Who is protective of his family and considers this
Oh,
building
because
an insect-
because the mob protects you, it's okay to hire the mob.
Let me ask
Is
you.
that-
this.
that's what's being
let me
said
ask you
right
this,
now.
Sean. I understand you being protective of your sister.
I'm not being protected
But
of my
listen,
sister.
listen now. I can understand that because I got children, I have relatives, and I die for them. All right. But what I don't understand is you being protective of him.
I'm the only reason I'm speaking up for him because I believe fair is fair and right is right. I don't like him. But if I want to get somebody, I want to get them for the right reason. I don't want to falsely accuse somebody and falsely go after them
So
when
you
they haven't
suggesting-
done anything
You're
wrong.
suggesting that he's not a criminal, don't have a criminal history, and is not selling drugs. Is that what?
I'm suggesting I have no proof of him selling drugs.
You don't- I don't
have
need
no
proof.
proof of him. You don't need proof?
I don't need proof.
Okay, the
No.
board, I want it
Because-
in the
let me-
record
because
that the
my
board
experience-
member
my experience-
of Tudor Gables does not need
Look,
proof.
We
If
don't have
if we
proof
required
against
proof-
Lamont either.
If we had required proof, he'd be here forever. Because the police can't even prove you selling drugs until they actually send somebody in to make a bag. They hide behind that forever. Selling drugs. Because they know you ain't gonna never catch them in the act. No, I don't need that.
Okay, I
Okay.
hope you.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to get Mr. Godbolt's advice on what to do, and I am also seeing Jack Bailey on Thursday with Spencer, and we can have a short meeting where we can find out how to do it legally. Where we're in compliance with the
That'll
law,
work for me.
because we also have to think about our insurance. Because if something does happen to Pam, or her granddaughter, or her son, or her daughter, we're liable as a corporation.
Okay.
And it could be for
and
big bucks.
if somebody
Because
gets
I don't
shot
trust
at
this
by
guy.
an employee of this place after you guys have due notice, then you're also liable. So that can also go on the insurance.
But he's in jail.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, but if that video proves what it needs to prove, then you could also be liable. He should be fired tonight. We should not be paying
He
two
hasn't
salaries.
been convicted.
Oh, because we need proof for him. I forgot.
Why do
We
you
got
want proof?
we got gunshots.
Why do you have a double standard?
For mine?
The issue,
We voted to pay Flamon.
We voted
Last week
until
they wouldn't vote without voting to pay him. He's on paid leave. So while he's sitting in
I
jail,
didn't
he's
hear
getting
paid
paid.
leave, I just heard
the
suspension.
issue last week was the protection of your sister.
That wasn't the issue. Come on, you guys are full of shit. That was not the issue. The issue last week, if you listen to that tape, was protecting Flamon. How do we protect him? We don't believe this boy. So if we don't believe Ebony said what she said. That was the whole thing. I got detailed notes. When I went home, I wrote down and typed up everything that I heard so I could have a record. And I want to put it in the
Isn't
news.
that what
You guys were
isn't
not
that-
trying to protect her. And I'm not
Isn't
trying
that
to
the issue that
defend
you
her.
brought forward? That's what you brought. All right. You was concerned about your sister's protection, right? She was concerned about her safety. Your mother was concerned about her safety.
Right,
The police solved that.
right.
But why are we
Now-
still kicking that issue and ignoring this one?
There's one other small factor, and I say small because it happened ages and ages ago when in Carbondale, but Ebony did plead guilty to filing a false vehicle police report. Is it small? Yes, but it's also indication. Now, okay, so I'm supposed to
That
believe
was
her.
at Carbondale, where they already went with the lawyers.
I don't
That
care.
a cab driver hit her. She got out the car. They were arguing, and he went up a little bit and bumped her. The police said they looked at the video, and we couldn't see it on the video, so they filed that she did a false report. She had a bruise on her leg.
Then why didn't she?
Because poor people can't go far in the criminal system.
Hello, I know, but why do you want Flamon to be prosecuted by us before we find out the truth, but you're not willing to look at Jakari? Because it's the
we're
same
looking,
thing.
exactly, we're looking at the same thing.
Yeah, but you're insisting that Flamon's guilty because your sister
I'm
says so.
I'm not saying Flamon is guilty because my sister's saying so. My whole argument is we're looking at the same thing. We have no evidence of either one, yet we're very willing to take action on one, and we want to just push the other one to the side.
You're not pushing those to the side.
How can
We're paying
well,
somebody to sit in jail.
Take a look at the letter I wrote. I don't see asking for the video and then asking the public defender to get the video. And the other thing is, I have a perfect right to represent myself as a neighbor of Flamon and as a neighbor of Pam. I've lived here since 2004, and I have experience with
Then if you want to do that, that's fine. Then any voting that you would take, you shouldn't be involved in any
Fine.
decisions.
I don't have a problem excusing myself from that at all, because I think that we don't know, and we won't know until, and hopefully that video will show it. I've heard too
Let me
many.
ask you, you don't find this suspicious at all, this letter?
No.
And you
because-
don't find the fact that she ran in here and said, no, my son didn't have the gun, he had the gun, knowing that was false. You didn't find that suspicious
Why I
at all.
asked Pam not to come is because Pam can be overly aggressive.
And this is her daughter that wrote this?
No, this is Pam that wrote this.
That's Pam
Her
wrote
daughter-
that.
Her daughter, who is 18, 19, is the only one that wasn't threatened. And I'm thinking it's because he doesn't want her threatened. Why did he threaten the daughter? Who just graduated from high school?
When will he have opportunity to threaten the mother? And didn't the mother, because
Did
Rose
we
was speaking about what Flamon was doing, so the mother
Rose has
Pam
no
came.
credibility here.
But when the mother come down and threaten Rose, it's an insight into the mother's character. When she comes down and threaten Rose and
got
ready to
fired for
fight in
reason.
the alley.
Rose got
I understand
Many
that.
reasons.
Real reasons.
Whatever the reason was, does that mean that people
reasons.
should, many reasons, does that mean that people should come down in the alley and threaten her and try and fight her? Is that
No.
okay because she was fired?
No, absolutely not.
So
Right.
that's what his mother did.
I'm
And
not-
now his mother is saying that somebody's
Does
threatening
that
her.
mean that she can't be threatened because she does that?
It
Is
don't
that-
mean that she can't be threatened
No,
because she
but
does
it's-
that, but it does mean that her credibility is a little bit tarnished.
Because she can be physical and because she understands the streets. She is also missing her protector, who is Flamand. Flamand is not a protector. Her daughter is not a protector. Is Pam Wiley? Does she argue? Yes. But is she as threatened? I do believe she was threatened. I was sitting in the alley when you say that you are the reason that Jakari walked up and down the alley 6 times glaring at me.
You were sitting in the alley.
Yes, I was. But Flamand was not there. But I was watching him part of that time. Not the whole time, not all 6 times, but part of that time.
It's 6 times now because Cassandra said it was 3. Her mother said
I
it was
was
4.
told the dog.
He said
I
he
said I wasn't-
walked one dog down there, came back, and walked the second dog
Okay.
down there.
What I'm saying is I had complaints from shareholders before you said that you were the one that asked him. But
Yeah, I got
what
the
I'm
text
saying
message
is
where I
we
told
have
him if he's down there
shareholders-
eating barbecue and partying with people who has to make a decision on his guilt or on his likelihood that he's done that on his job, but they're sitting there eating barbecue,
You have to separate-
yucking it up with
you have to
him,
separate
is
your
that
roles.
appropriate?
Number
Yes.
one, let me
You have to
say
separate
this
roles.
like
No,
I said before.
I'm not
Don't
talking
take-
about you.
Oh, but you keep saying you guys.
No, I'm
You
talking about.
all-
I already told you last week. I know you didn't know anything about it and you were passing by. That's what I said last week, and that's what you weren't involved in.
No, I was out there when they were cooking.
But you said you knew nothing about the situation.
No, I did not know anything about this.
Right, so that's not on you, but Fran knew about the situation.
But he-
Dwayne was asked to come in to give witness testimony for Flamand at a board meeting. He was out there.
He wasn't asked to come in for that.
What was he asked to come in
He
for?
was asked
Because
to
he's
come
not a
in
board
because he
member.
was here in the city, and out of respect for him having been a former board member, and out of respect for him knowing about the building, etc., he was not called in just.
He was called, what I was told, he was called to come in because to discuss the Flamand issue.
Mm-hmm.
He knows Flamand, he likes Flamand, he was called in as a character witness.
No, that is not true.
Okay, but
Dwayne was the site manager with me, and both of us talked to Lee and Flamand about cleaning up the parking lots. And one of the complaints we've had is drug dealers and guys that are using drugs, using the parking lot, sitting in their cars down at that end of the parking lot, selling. And the guys working on the cars, using. And the sellers got them on their doorstep, so they can just sell right there. I asked Dwayne to come in for a few different reasons. One, he was a site manager for me. Another, that he knew of how Jakari came to our attention, partly, let's say closer in on the radar, where the parking lots were cleaned up. I wanted Dwayne to be able to say that, and Dwayne is the same quiet voice. He's as unbiased as, he has his own opinion which he will express, and nobody can tell him to express their opinion. He says what he believes. That is why I asked him, because he and I don't always agree. I don't agree with everybody here all the time either, and nor do I want you or expect you to agree with me. But
And the
she is-
only independent
Now,
witness.
let me just say, the worst thing I heard.
Excuse me. Are we going to be able to get and look at the video
We don't know.
from
The
over
worst,
there?
okay, I passed around that email that I sent. Apparently Ebony's also sent an email and got an attorney to see if she can get the video. the public defender for Flomont said she will try and subpoena the video or get them to save it, because when I found out from LaShawn that they only keep the video a week, I looked them up. I got the email, apparently Ebony just had the email address for them. I found a phone number, called, got another email address, and asked them to send the video and sent this letter, which I forwarded. I didn't forward to all of you, but I printed out. So I'm hoping that they have saved it, because apparently they only saved it for a week. Now, a week has already expired. That was last Friday, Saturday morning, that it might have been erased.
And Ebony's been calling the detectives to see if he got the video, and there was no response. She talked to the public defender, the state's attorney today, and they went through the file, and she said the video is not in here, so she was calling the detective to find out where the video is, or if she needs to subpoena it herself to get the video.
Okay.
So everybody's trying to get the video. Ebony has to pay $1,000 to get the video.
Why I wrote, now, do you see anything in the letter that I wrote as president of the corporation that is biased in any way towards Flomont, against your sister, in any way whatsoever?
Not in the letter, but in last week's meeting, in this morning's interaction, and in this meeting.
I am a person this morning interaction. I did not represent the corporation. I made it known to the public defender that I did not represent the corporation when I went there. And I have the right to be
You have the right to
person.
do that, but it does look bad.
I don't give a crap. Everybody can criticize me for me looking bad. They're welcome to criticize me. I have the right.
What you have to
Individual
understand is
actions.
when we step outside this door and outside this meeting, we're just a regular tenant, a owner,
Exactly,
a regular person.
exactly.
And
But my philosophy is just avoid the appearance.
Okay, you're gonna,
I will ask
bring
the
this
attorney.
to the
Right.
attorney so we can get some leeway
Yeah.
on which way
Right.
we should pursue this.
The
And-
question that I do have is, you should know who he was arrested for battery, for domestic battery in March. If you don't know if it was or wasn't Ebony, that's shameful. I know that she has previously had associations, and she's criticized me for saying domestic abuse should be private. It isn't. It's a matter of the building, because it disturbs the neighbors, and I have had neighbors of Ebony call me saying, please, get the police over
The
here.
one that I've heard about it was 2015. There's been others after that.
No, you heard about it when Seth Pearl was here.
That was 2015 when you sent me the email.
He moved.
So have you heard anything since then?
All I know is there's a police report on the internet. No, I have not.
Okay,
Steve
so
Guadawali
if you heard
across
something in
the-
2015, why does everybody in the building come up to me saying, Fran said your sister's getting beat up? What's going on? Why aren't you protecting your sister? Why is so many people in the building coming up to me asking me that?
Why is she, okay, do you know that it wasn't her in March?
I don't know.
That's shameful, because you're saying she's not, but he's beating somebody up. I don't know.
Oh, because you said you don't go by arrest, you go by convictions. Is there a conviction with that? I asked you about Flamon, you said I don't go by arrest. Arrest don't count, I go by
that's not what
conviction.
she's saying.
I don't
That's
know
what you
him.
said last
What
week.
she's saying is that from
I'm
a
new
brother's
here.
standpoint,
If I
protective
know
of
about
your
it,
sister,
if I know about it,
you-
I'm gonna take care of
let
it.
me finish. From a brother's standpoint and being protective of your sister, you shouldn't need a conviction.
If I know about it, I'm gonna take care of it, trust
He's
me.
beating your sister and you're gonna wait until you get a conviction to deal with it?
I haven't heard about him beating my sister. If I
I
heard
don't
about
either.
that, or
I
if there
know.
was anything
But-
that, if I even thought that, I'd be on him.
I believe that. But he also does have an arrest for domestic disturbance in
And so
March.
does Flamon has 2 arrests for domestic
Okay.
disturbance. And he beat up a girlfriend the night of the shooting.
I have not heard that from the girlfriend.
You heard that the night of the meeting. That's what the police were down there for.
No, I did not hear that from the girlfriend. The girl that was here did not say anything about that.
That was not his
The other one-
girlfriend. That was the
other one
boyfriend,
that
the
was
brother's
in
poor girlfriend.
Indiana that I talked to said no, that wasn't what was going on either. They were here to get whichever. What we need, we can argue, but we don't know the truth, period. I don't know the truth about this guy's interaction with Ebony. I don't know the truth about what happened with Flamon. I expect the system is going to railroad him as much as they can. But unless, because first of all, if they were going to hear something, they would have the judge hear the case as opposed to go to the state's attorney, as opposed to go to the grand jury.
But after you
The
go to a
grand
grand
jury
jury,
is
you
only-
still have to go to a judge and jury.
I know, but the grand jury only gets to hear the prosecution side. I think there are questions. I want the video because I don't know. I really don't know. I leave the possibility of it
So
open.
if we get the video and the video shows what she said, does that not take back the fact that Flamon is saying that he's selling drugs and Flamon's family is saying
No.
he's threatening?
No.
All that takes
No.
back is the fact that he did
Then
fire
he
a
lied.
weapon and he should be fired.
So somebody
don't-
lying and being proven a liar
Listen,
does
let me
not
tell
make all of their statements a lie.
There's nothing, not much, that will convince me that I want this boy as my neighbor.
But you're willing to have
Over my
somebody
grandkid.
with double those convictions with the key to your basement, the key to your gate, and walking right up to your back door taking your
He
garbage.
seems to be protective of this little area here, and I'm cool with that.
He's okay, as long as you don't make him mad. If you piss him off, then he might take a shot at you. If you piss him off, he might come in there and break down your door and steal your stuff with his past convictions.
I ain't worried about that. Well, you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about drug dealers and their clientele coming 50
Oh, he's
feet.
been
Let me finish
convicted
now.
for drug dealing
50,
too.
50 feet from my apartment. And it's not just him selling drugs at his door, but you bring a whole environment with you. Because when the drug dealer ain't got the
And-
money, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
He ain't got money to buy drugs. He's gonna come into my place. He's gonna snatch my wife's purse. He's gonna rob my little kid to go next door and buy drugs. Now I can't clear up the whole world, but right now I think we've been pretty successful in keeping it down on the north end of the alley.
Okay, two
Maybe
questions.
we'll move it off the block, but right now I'd
Okay,
rather
let me just ask you
at
two
least
questions
keep it on the
about
north
what you
end of
just
the alley.
said. Two questions about what you just said. Flamon has multiple convictions for selling drugs, and he's in within 50 feet of your door. And were you also aware that the Saturday morning after the shooting, Sonny's girlfriend, who called about his car the boot being cut off of his car, are you aware that she said that she lives with him, she drives his car, but I guess they were in an argument, so she said that his house is a crack house?
Who
Where
said-
you
who
can
said
pay
it?
his girlfriend
Who is
said Sonny is the guy that had the gray Malibu,
David Price,
that
Sam
you
was
could give
right.
him a couple
Well,
dollars and sit in his house
on that because I found several plastic bags at Sonny's back door.
and you can pay him a couple dollars and sit in his house and smoke crack.
Okay, well let's put him next on the list.
So
All right.
He's using it. He's not selling. He's buying it.
he's buying it.
He's
Because
a user.
I've also talked to the people for information, I heard that when she made the police report, because she also complained that he had taken the tags off the license plate, somebody's license plate, put it on his, and that he had taken the boot off the car, and I can show you the emails. And so I told his sister, he's slightly challenged, he works at the corner store. We approved him a little over a year and a half ago. And Dolores has known him for some time. Now, what happened is he lived with his mother his entire life until he's, in his 50s, 60s. She passed away 2 years ago. It's the first time he's ever owned his own car, as opposed to had his mother's car, where she took care of the registration, she took care of all
Everything.
of what happened to it. He had no idea of the consequences he would have to face, because he's never had to face it, from taking a boot off the car. So what happened is I met his sister the next day, and with him and Michelle, and he's probably gonna, I don't think they're ever gonna bother getting the car out of the impound, because it's gonna cost a few $1,000s, because he has to get it registered, pay for the good sticker, pay for the boot that was taken off, pay for the boot that they put on, pay for the tow, and then get it out of, I think he's lost a car. I think he was, we'll see if he keeps this apartment. His sister is not going to support him if he won't pay what he needs to pay, because she was paying the mortgage and he was supposed to be paying assessments. He never had to do that in his life. This is the first time he's had a live-in girlfriend in his entire life. She's got 3 kids who he feels he's responsible to support. In addition, he's got a little habit. I've talked to his downstairs neighbors, Atlas Pugh, who has not found any problem, nor has he had parties there. I've talked to the upstairs neighbor across, David Parker, who calls me the same as you did when there are gatherings on the north. And I've asked him, and he said Sonny is as quiet as anything. He does not have parties. And it's not a flop house. I think the girl exaggerated. I think she told part of the truth. I think she told the truth about the towing, about the boot. I think she told the truth about the sticker. I think she exaggerated about the parties, because I'm not having any evidence of parties in that, of the neighbors
She
complaining
said,
about
I don't
parties.
remember her saying party, she may have, but she said that you could pay him a couple dollars and sit in his house and smoke crack. And what I just heard right now is he had a little mental problem, and everybody's known him for a long time, so the fact that he is confirmed to have drugs in his unit is not that big of a problem. But this person who you suspect of having drugs gotta go.
What Eddie said was that he uses. What I said is he very well could be
He's
evicted.
not a crackhead, he does blows in his nose. He's never been a crackhead.
Okay, he does blows.
What?
I'm
One is just as bad as the other one,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
But that's confirmed, and
What I said
That's
is that
okay.
he may not understand how to pay his assessments, and he may prefer to give his money to his girlfriend and her 3 kids, and he may be evicted out of here with his sister's knowledge. I didn't say we're excusing it. I
but
said
you didn't say we're going after him because he has drugs in his unit.
because he's not looking to bring people here. And his neighbors have been inquired of, his neighbors have been asked about it. Not somebody on the street that I don't know, but people that I know the veracity of. David Parker, who alerts me to what's going on the north parking lot, and on the 3rd floor, and Atlas Pugh on the 1st floor. I called both of them and asked them after I heard that rumor. And no, don't know anything. Now, in reference to Ebony, I talked to Steve Fadawali, and Steve leaves her work at 7:30 in the morning, gets back from work at 11:30 at night. No, it's quiet at Ebony's. The other person that I did ask is David Wethington. You know, how's it over there? Any problem? Any noise? Anything? No. David Wethington is one of our seniors. He's one of the people we're talking about with the Life Estate program. He's 85. No, he hasn't. We had previously given her a violation for running a daycare. She is a licensed daycare center. We also had given her a lease violation for letting her dogs crap in the gangway. She stopped having a daycare center in her apartment, and she started taking her dogs, or having her boyfriend take her dogs out the front. We do not have an answer for this. Are we
You
perfect?
stopped halfway through 5B about the switch of units. You started talking about it, but
We
then
can't switch units until we know it's vacant. We expect Rosalind. I don't want to move this guy. I don't want to move this guy. I want to know he's not going to be here. That's why I switched. I want to know he's not going to be moving underneath Carl Askew and above Miss Rayleigh.
Oh, he wouldn't be that long.
Oh,
Cops get them out there.
yeah.
It would
Well,
be
that
the-
may be a way.
If they move.
Because those, it's one of the quietest stairwells in this entire building. It's the only 4-room we have that will be livable. I'm expecting it's livable. I won't see it until she moves. Miss Rayleigh has asked to show it to people that she would like to rent it. I said I can't get anybody in. And the board has to make a decision.
On what?
If we are going to allow Ebony to switch units, first of all, I wanna know the unit's vacant. You have the right to say, hey, let's let her switch now, who cares if it's vacant? When we're getting the certificate back, Rosalind Backstrom is expected to vacate the unit. She's paid me $480 to $650 she's supposed to pay in July for staying beyond June. And she's expecting to move by the end of July. Are we gonna gamble on her moving by the end of July?
That's what I asked when she said she was.
I think, Ebony, she
Because
has
she
the right
wanted
to
to do it
switch
in August.
to a comparable apartment,
Right, this isn't up or down, this is just switch.
Yeah, switch, yeah, because, others.
The switch because of
have
what
allowed-
damage.
That's no problem there.
That
However,
was
though,
the threats.
I don't think that she should be allowed to switch and carry this known problem with her.
Put it in a contract.
Any switch should be conditional upon him not coming on the premises. And I think we have a right to do that. I mean, you're gonna run it past God vote. But from your standpoint, we're still being protective of your sister, giving her every right that everybody else is getting, but we're trying to protect ourselves too. And we got a right to do that.
Do I feel threatened by him? I feel he's intimidating to me, very much so. If you looked at the way that he stared at me at the meeting last week, yeah, I do. Same way I am my first floor neighbor's boyfriend. Same way I am when I see him in the alley. I saw him in the alley today with Lee, and would he like to see me in, an unprotected setting? He'd love me out of the way, really, because I am a hindrance. Because I do think he is bad for this property. I think he brings ill will with him, and I think it's very telling that his best friend in this entire complex is my first floor neighbor whose boyfriend, her boyfriend, is the one that's on probation for armed home invasion.
And if you use that theory that because his friend is that guy, you have to look at the fact that Flamon's friends are what you said, his drug competition. So you have to weigh that as well.
Okay, do I know that they could be a danger to this building? Yes. They could be. They are. We had protection from them. With Flamon, is it using the mob to get the mob away? Yeah, it is. But this isn't Lakeshore Drive. Do we need to go to what's better? Yeah. But are we there yet? No. We still get 20 people, gathering at 1:30, 2 in the morning. And we do have shareholders that do park there, that are women that come home late, like seniors even, Deborah Edison, who would like to be able to see the parking lot to know what she's running into. What she does instead is she calls her friends in the high-rise next in the senior building and asks them what's going on in the parking lot before she comes.
And then if she has to park on the very far north end,
Yeah.
she gotta walk through all of that
Yeah.
to get to her building.
And she lives above Sonny, the guy we're talking about. She's given a substitute unit at 30 and a half, but she lives on the 3rd floor at 34 on the corner, just as you enter the gangway. So she's the first unit on the 3rd floor when she moves back to her unit. Anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait to settle, because I need Mr. Godbold's advice. Do we have a motion to allow Ebony to move if it's vacant at the end of July? Or do you want to wait until the shareholder meeting, because we can also have a short meeting then when we're together? if we know.
I'll make the motion to let her move, because if we're gonna do this and evict him anyway, it's not gonna matter.
What is that?
If we're gonna ban him anyway, it's
Yeah.
not gonna
I'm
matter,
saying
so
as
we
long
can
as
make the
this
vote
situation
now.
is included in the motion, I'm for it.
That she's allowed to move without him,
Right. Conditional upon him not being,
that he doesn't move in with her.
not just he doesn't move in with her, that he's not be allowed in the premises, because he can visit and still not technically be considered moving in with her.
Okay, because that unit is toward the front in the middle gangway. It's not on the north end. It's at 4838 to west,
Is that right up on Carl Avenue?
underneath
The
Carl.
cops gonna be there every night, and something's going on.
I
Every
know.
10 minutes, the cops gonna be there. He believe in calling the cops.
I know he does. He calls the cops when the pin drops.
I know, so this might be our way to get rid of him.
He's also very sensitive to tobacco and weed,
Mm-hmm.
and he's called them. And Miss Reilly is
He
just so
was doing
sweet.
that 20-something years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, what we gonna do, Chris?
Okay, do you want to vote
My
on,
medicine.
do you want to vote on
Yeah, we'll do that.
allowing Ebony to switch units? Now, what we don't have is the condition of that unit.
That's what we're saying, a comparable unit, right?
Comparable
The
unit.
same, yeah.
Who knows? The other thing that she will need, right now, she is current on her payment agreement. Michelle is gonna be going into the mortgages, to find out how, to get people caught up so that we have current paperwork and how the mortgages are being treated, because we've sort of ignored that. It's only so much. Okay, so we're holding off on Pam. We're not addressing this as,
Are we approving everybody's motion?
okay, then we'll go back to this. So we're all in favor of allowing Ebony to switch apartments without her live-in boyfriend?
Without the living boyfriend.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yes, other than,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, with Pam, we're putting it on hold and not addressing it until we find out how to evict him legally with Mr. Godbolt, or how are we dealing with Pam?
I think you should talk to Mr. Garber first, and take his advice on this.
That works for me.
One more thing for y'all leave. The iron gate on the south side where we're at, in the alley, those gates, they stay open sometime, all the time. We need to come up with some funds to get those, what do you call it? Make the gate slam back automatically.
Yeah, we can do that for our side, but we can't do that for Chris' side. They changed the lock on that. That doesn't match our lock. Because they're their own building now.
But all that belongs, and we put that up, not that building.
Doesn't
next
matter.
door,
Doesn't matter. The pin number stops in the middle of the sidewalk.
It does?
Yeah,
Oh, well, we paid for all that back years ago.
too bad.
I
They
know,
didn't
I know.
get an agreement on the, written into the,
Right.
legal description. I know.
In the past.
Oh, and Eddie brought up this gate back here. Can we have Lee put a padlock on it
Yeah, I
so they
found
can't
one. I
just?
found one
Okay.
tomorrow. Put it on. Is this yours?
No, that was extra.
That was an extra. Thank you, guys.
Don't do that.
I can't help it, I tried to pull it in.
I'm stealing his pen.
Have you talked to Mike Hicks, or the one that had the 3 cars?
No, that's one of our 5-day notice people.
Okay, there's a rumor that he's trying to move, and he wants to
I
go.
mean, that's
So maybe if we offer
And he
him,
wants to what?
he wants to
Yeah,
move.
you in here?
which would be
He
good.
doesn't live here.
Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Most of the time.
Yeah, well, maybe
Uh,
he'll
Ask
take
Eddie
that,
about him.
Excuse me.
maybe he'll take that deal where he just
Eddie?
turns it over
Did you want to
if
say
he's
For
trying
the
to get out.
charity.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Or he might just sign it over to get his stuff wiped out.
Oh, okay,
We noticed his
Sign it over
Burgundy
works.
truck was
Okay.
gone,
all right.
so he might be trying to move right
I
away.
saw him drive through the lot. Yeah, that's why. See, if we've got a way to donate to charity where you can get some benefit for it, and the other way is if people, they could donate part it over a period of years,
Yeah.
donate different shares,
Yeah.
and have. Well, they can
And we
figure
noticed
out
his
how.
truck is gone, so
This is
That
for,
might be good.
you're taking this, right?
yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I'm gonna try to print out as much to you as possible.